Hello everybody. Now before we begin, let me just address this horrible ponytail. It is for a movie I'm filming. I've been called many things. Chris Anal, Sri Lankan short order cook. I look like I should be tying a woman to the train tracks. These are offensive. They hurt my feelings, but you should be allowed to say them. And that gets into this conversation. Last week, Charlie Kirk's tragic death exposed that our political values have eroded faster than Kash Patel's interest in the Epstein list. The discourse between right and left is officially just beat the other side, even if it means becoming exactly what you hate. It started with the left's reaction to Charlie's assassination. Surely people on the left that have constantly been reminding us of the dangers of fascism, surely they would condemn the assassination of a political opponent. No. Many of them celebrated it, like Charlie Sheen on World AIDS Day, and that's just about as fascist as Putin's pierogies, which is not only a food, it's what he calls his housekeepers. Now, I've heard people say, well, technically that's not fascism because the government didn't assassinate the political opponent. Wow, nuance. I'm glad the people that called Sydney Sweeney a Nazi for wearing jeans learned what that is. Now, for the record, just because her bra size is SS doesn't mean she's Goebbels. Now, it wasn't just the left. The right, the party that ended cancel culture, the party that is keeping free speech alive, surely they maintain their values in the face of tragedy? No, they folded faster than a pair of Peter Dinklage's dungarees. Jimmy Kimmel, who for anyone under 50 is a late night TV host, and for anyone under 40, late night TV is how the pharmaceutical industry gets your uncle hooked on opioids. And for anyone under 30, TV is like TikTok, but your phone is sideways and not controlled by Bamboo Babe Ruth. Anyway, Jimmy's show is taken off the air because he allegedly made a joke about Charlie. I watched the segment. You watched the segment. He did not make a joke about Charlie at all. The joke was about Trump and one of his reactions to Charlie's death, which was ridiculous. He started talking about White House renovations, which if he hadn't kicked out all the Mexicans would have been done by now. Now, I will say Jimmy did spread misinformation about Charlie's killer, saying that he was right-wing. I don't know how right-wing you can be if your girlfriend has a cock. We'll have to ask Lindsey Graham about that. Rumor is he likes devouring a devious bull-nosed cock. Now, in all seriousness, I'm pretty sure the only thing leaning to the right in that relationship was his girlfriend's big salty cock. But furthermore, if spreading misinformation is worthy of cancellation, then just get rid of the internet right now. Personally, I think it's a violation of free speech and incredibly corny to hire a comedian and fire them for jokes no matter which side of the aisle those jokes land on. There is always going to be someone offended by a joke. Half the population is female. And if you got offended by that, you're proving my point. If we set a precedent that we silence comedians when people are offended, there will be no comedy at all, and my feet are not nice enough to start an OnlyFans. But let's say that you disagree. ABC is a private company. They should be able to hire and fire as they choose. I've heard people say freedom of speech isn't freedom of consequence, and that is fair. But is ABC simply firing an employee over a joke they didn't like? Or is it Trump's FCC chair, Brendan Carr, going on a podcast the next day saying Jimmy Kimmel should be punished and saying we can do this the easy way or the hard way, which is what Tyler Robinson's girlfriend said on their first date when she whipped out that vindictive, conniving cock with salt all over it Himalayan. Well, you know what happened immediately after? Nexstar, one of the largest affiliate owners in the country, meaning they broadcast Jimmy Kimmel's show, they pulled Kimmel from all their broadcasts. Now, do you think they did that because they were offended by the joke or because they have a $6.2 billion merger they need approved by the FCC? If they did it for that merger, that is the definition of government-influenced silencing of speech. And now all these staunch free speech advocates are doing mental gymnastics to get around the fact that they're okay with government-influenced silencing of speech as long as it's for their opposition. You want to know who wouldn't be okay with that? Charlie Kirk. Love him or hate him, Charlie gave a microphone to his political opponents, asked audiences to treat them with respect. He quite literally amplified the voices of those he disagreed with. How do you think he would feel about his tragic death being used to silence political opposition? Honestly, do you think that he would advocate for canceling Jimmy? There's no way. I think he'd be furious about it. I think his supporters should be furious about it, and I think his detractors should be furious about it. It shouldn't even be up for debate.